Alright, we're having some technical issues, but I'm going to see if this is live right now.
Alright, we're having some technical issues.
Alright, we're live. Yeah, I did make this video last night, but it didn't, for some reason it didn't post. I made a whole video, it didn't post. But anyway, if you haven't heard, which most people haven't, because they're not part of the Kurt Cobain was murdered community, like myself, but there has been an eyewitness to come out of the woodwork. A guy named Joe Burns, who's done a 4-hour interview that's been turned into the Seattle police, recounting the story of the murder of Kurt Cobain. He was supposedly there, and there's only been a short clip released, and that's all we know right now. This guy Joe Burns was in a hardcore power violence crust type band called Aspirin Feast, and he knew Dylan Carlson, Kurt Cobain's best friend, who bought the gun that Kurt Cobain was shot with. I've been thinking Kurt Cobain was murdered since someone told me that in my summer camp when I was 11 years old. So I know all the theories, all the facts. It was even on Unsolved Mysteries. There's a movie, Kurt and Courtney. There's a movie, Soaked in Bleach. There's dozens of books about it. Steve Albini has said that he was murdered. Dave Grohl never says he committed suicide. He always says when Kurt died. And supposedly everybody that is on the inside track of Kurt Cobain knows he was murdered. A guy who was hired to find Kurt Cobain when he was missing, a private investigator, former LAPD officer, Tom Grant, has dedicated the past 30 years to proving that Kurt Cobain was murdered. So this is nothing new. The most widely accepted theory at this point is that Kurt was with the nanny, Callie DeWitt, who's the guy dressed in drag on the CD, not the CD case, but the CD cover of In Utero. He was there at the house. Kurt Cobain's best friend, Dylan Carlson, was there. A woman named Jessica was there, who was dating the Cali guy, and Macaulay Culkin's now dead sister was there. And he was shot up with a lethal dose of heroin. He's already dead, and then he was shot to make it look like a suicide. There was no fingerprints on the weapons. It was ruled a suicide right away without any investigation. There's no fingerprints on the bullet. There was no fingerprints on the suicide note pin. A suicide note is written in 2 different handwritings. As I said before, he was a junkie, but he had so much heroin in him that he'd be dead 10 times over. That's what, a lot, like that famous guy from the HBO show Autopsy. He looked over all the notes and he said there's no way that someone could take this much heroin and take the needle out of their arm, put it back in the box, and shoot himself in the head. Just impossible. So this guy, Joe Burns, was supposedly there. And I'm very interested to see how all this is going to play out, because, like I said, I've been into this theory since I was 11 years old. I'm a big Nirvana fan. And so it's either whokilledkurt.com or whokilledkurt.org. You should check it out. This is big news, and no one's really talking about it. There's a guy who has a YouTube channel, American Spy Fox, that all he does is talk about Kurt Cobain being murdered, and he is not, it's radio silence on his end. And as far as I know, this guy Tom Grant, the private investigator, it's radio silence on his end as well. But this news only came out, days ago. But I just wanted to talk about it a bit. People, when Kurt Cobain died and people said it was suicide, a lot of people committed suicide after that to copy him. I know of at least 3 people that were my friends that committed suicide at 27, and I know it's because they were just trying to copy Kurt Cobain. I was very depressed when I was 27, and even when I was a kid, I was like, I wonder if I'll kill myself when I'm 27 like Kurt Cobain. But luckily I didn't. I'm still alive. I want to stay alive. I even quit smoking cigarettes. But people involved in the world of heroin, they're sketchier than meth heads, because life is cheaper to them than it is for meth heads. They're used to people dying from it all the time, especially fentanyl. But they kill each other all the time, give each other what's called a hot shot, which is a lethal dose of heroin disguised as a non-lethal dose. Supposedly Sid Vicious's mom killed him with a hot shot of heroin because she didn't want him to go to prison. But hopefully, if this all comes to light and people are held responsible for the death of Kurt Cobain, this could change everything. I mean, they caught the guy that made the order to kill Tupac. No one ever thought that would happen. But I'm going to go ahead and play this recording of the preview of this Who Killed Kurt documentary. So here we go. Kind of freaky.
My name is Kurt. I died in the greenhouse over my garage on a rainy night in April 1994. You've probably heard that I killed myself that night, but I'm here to clear a few things up. First, enough with this suicide bullshit. I was murdered in cold blood by people who were close to me. And second, now this is what I really want the aforementioned people to pay attention to. For the first time in 30 years, a witness has come forward.
Hi, my name is Joseph Burns, and I was there at the house on Green Lake when Kurt Cobain was murdered.
Alright, so yeah, that's the guy Joseph Burns. He's the drummer of Aspirin Feast. And supposedly, he also played drums briefly for Kurt's supposed friend, Dylan, that was involved in the murder. And that's how he knew Kurt. He's missing an arm, which is probably from shooting up heroin too much. Like that movie, whatever that Jared Leto movie, Requiem for a Dream. He had to get his arm cut off from shooting up speed in his arm too much. But here's the other video of a little bit more of that guy Joe Burns talking about how he knew Kurt Cobain.
And he really liked your band. I met Dylan. We're talking. He's all, you got to meet this friend of mine. He really likes your band. He's a fan. And his name's Kurt. And so Dylan introduced me to him. Kurt had seen us play some shows, and Dylan told Kurt that he was friends with me and stuff like that. And so we got introduced by Dylan. Well, I met Kurt Cobain, and he had seen my band, I guess, and Dylan said, you should meet my friend Kurt. He said that Kurt really liked Aspirin Feast, and I should meet him. And so I met him, and we hit it off. And he used to come over a lot to my place where I had a tattoo shops, and he would come over and just hang out and stuff and watch me do tattoos. And Kurt would always say he was going to get a tattoo. He never got one, but he'd just hang out and stuff like that. He'd bring Francis over a lot, and a good kid, just hung out, never cried or fussed or anything like that, just a good kid. So it was cool that he brought her over. Yeah, Kurt was an easygoing guy,
That's all that's been released right now.
My name is Kurt.
That's all that's come out. It came out a few days ago. Hopefully this video, people will Google it, and they'll do some research themselves. I'm very hopeful and very excited at this prospect. And I never thought that it would happen. There was one guy, El Duce, that said he was offered $50,000 to kill Kurt Cobain, and mysteriously died on train tracks a few days later. That's the only other eyewitness interview that has been released. And who knows what that guy was kind of a weirdo. So who knows if he was telling the truth or not. But this Joe Burns guy, he was like he said, he was there the night that Kurt Cobain was murdered on Green Lake, which is not where Kurt Cobain was found. Kurt Cobain lived on Lake Washington. Green Lake is supposedly a 10 to 15 minute drive from the Kurt Cobain mansion where they found him dead. But I've always heard that they moved the body because there wasn't enough blood for someone to have been shot there. But also he was shot with a bird shot, so it didn't even, the shotgun blast didn't even go through his skull. My uncle was shot with a bird shot, and it just like made little polka dots on his chest. So a lot of twists and turns, a lot of things to think about. But do your own research. I've been researching this for years, but I just wanted to get the word out. So have a good night. Bye bye.